Okay, now that you've had a chance to play around with exponential functions and how they work in GeoGebra, now we're going to flip it around and we're going to put in possible values, and then we want to match those values to the function. So that's the next step. So I have this list here of the Dow Jones Industrial Average from 1965 to 2010. This sort of represents the value of I think it's the top 40 companies in the United States. So top 40 in US, right? So the value, the calculation, you might look it up on Wikipedia or something like that about exactly how they get this number, but it's kind of representative of the value of these top 40 companies in the United States over time. So you expect it to grow over time, and even it goes down from 2005 to 2010. But in general, it seems to be growing, and you can see it kind of doubles almost every 5 years. But we seem to have tapped out. It went down here, and I think, I lost a lot of money in this time, but that's kind of besides the point, I guess. So we want to maybe predict, if this overall trend continues in 2020, what should the Dow Jones Industrial Average be? So we're going to put that into GeoGebra and try to estimate that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and input those values into GeoGebra. So make sure you open your spreadsheet view first. I already have, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in these points: 1965, well, before I put in all those, it goes up by 5 years each time, so I'm just going to say equals that value at A1 plus 5 years, and it turns into 1970. And if I just copy that formula down, it adds 5 years each time, and I only need to go to 2010, so I'll just drag and delete those. Alright, and I will put in the values for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, so it looks like it was pretty flat between 70 and 75. You see it only went up by 1, then it went up by a little over 100. Here it went up, almost doubled. Here it almost doubled. Here it more than doubled. Here it was pretty flat. Here it went down, actually. So you can kind of look at the numbers and make those little inferences. Okay, now what I want to do is plot these points into the graph. So I highlight them, I click and drag across, and then I right click to say create list of points. And I believe you can even use this right here to create the list. Now it created the list of points, but I don't see them right now because it only goes from 0 to 10. But my lowest X value is 1965. So what I want to do is go to View and Layout. And then I need to click on this icon right here, the preferences for the graphics. So my minimum X, let's just say it's 1950, right? So a little bit below my lowest value. And the max, I'll say how about 2015. Okay. And then the minimum Y, let's just go to, how about 0? I'll just say 0. And then the maximum Y we'll say is, let's say it goes to 10,000, so let's say maybe 11,000. Okay. So you see all these points over here. Maybe oh, what happened? My X minimum went to negative 10. Let's change that to 1950. There we go. Alright, and so there's my graph. Maybe I can even zoom out a little bit. Okay, so it looks like these points look like that. I don't like how it labels them A, B, C, D, so I'm going to change that. I right click on point, say Object Properties, go to the Basic tab, change the label to Value. Okay. Now to make an exponential function fit this graph, the way you do that is go to the input bar and type in f of x equals. Now the command for GeoGebra to fit that is called fit, F-I-T, and it will start to auto-fill for you. The thing that you want is fit growth, because it's a growth type function. We'll also do a linear fit next, so fit growth first, and it'll fill in for you. Now what you need to put in is the list of points, and I created that when I did that, create list of points, and it created this list right here, list 1. So I just type in list 1, and you can see how it made my exponential function right there. Now I want to also do a linear fit, so let's say g of x equals fit line, and the list of points is list 1 again. So you can kind of compare that. It appears that the exponential fits better than the line. Now if we want to estimate, what do you think the value of the Dow Jones Industrial Average will be in, say, 2020? So now all I have to do is put in the value 2020 and go over here and say equals this function that I just made, f of x, at 2020. So then I plug in that value. Okay, so it estimates that the Dow Jones Industrial Average will be 23,887. So that's what we hope it will be, I guess. So if it continues to grow at this rate, that's what it will be. So that's how you can make estimations, is you make this this function, and then you put in the value of what that function would be. Now the function is, it says 0 times all of this, but this is not quite right because it does do some rounding off. So you can't really trust putting that into your calculator and getting that value. So what you want to do is just use GeoGebra itself. So you couldn't actually do this problem by hand. You have to actually use the computer.